Alan Williams is head of the Florence Barstow Primary School, where he's been for the past 12 years. He's a popular and avuncular head teacher, and by any standards, Florence Barstow's been a successful school. But recent results have been disappointing, and with every year, Alan finds coping with change more difficult. Alison Howard is the chair of the governing body's finance committee. Florence Barstow is Alison's unpaid working life. Maybe she's become a little too close to it. Ashok Patel is a manager in a regional train company and passionate about education. Recently, the LEA appointed him a governor at Florence Barstow. He's about to go to his first meeting of the finance committee. Richard Fairman is a long-standing governor and another member of the finance committee. He always comes to meetings, though he doesn't say a great deal. How much does Richard understand of what he hears?
Well, they've always been naughty little children, you know. Well, even when I was at primary school, there was one boy constantly standing in the corner of the room. Until one day he was finally shown the door. Come in.
I'm sorry. Am I late?
No, not at all. Sorry, we should have said. We always have a natter over tea and biscuits for a few minutes beforehand.
I see.
But you get what I mean. Exclusion's nothing new. It would be a sad day for Florence Barstow if more than one child every 5 years needed the order of the boot.
Can I interrupt for a moment, Alan and Richard, and introduce Ashok Patel, our new committee member. Ashok, Alan Williams.
Pleased to meet you, Ashok.
Richard Fairman.
Now who is that? Excuse me a moment, will you? Hello? Alan Williams, Florence Barstow School. Oh, hello, Mrs. Fogarty. What can I do for you? I see, of course. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Fogarty. Thank you. Bye-bye now. Oh, goodness gracious me. How that woman can talk.
I think we really should be getting down to some business now, Alan. Ashok must be thinking we never do any work.
Well, it is quite difficult to get away for 5 o'clock.
Yes, my apologies, everyone. I'm sorry, Ashok.
Right, here's an agenda for everyone. Okay. And the minutes. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to get these out to you before, Ashok, but the routine's normally about the same. Can we take the minutes as read? Good. As you'll see, there's only one major item on the agenda, but first we better deal with any matters arising.
Yes, item 2, Alison. No progress, I'm afraid, but perhaps we could have a word after the meeting.
Thanks, Alan, that's fine. Item 4.
The cleaning contract. Well, I think I can safely say that we've scored a little victory here. Now, you remember all that fuss we had about the dining hall? Well, I called Clean Sweep last Tuesday and said I wasn't going to budge from the phone until I got satisfaction. Well, it took 20 minutes or so, but then we started making some progress. Do you know, I think at long last, I think we're actually getting through to them. You know, that we're not going to...
Sorry, Mr. Williams. I might not have been following this very well, but I'm still not finally clear as to whether the school continues to be in dispute with the cleaners.
Call me Alan, please.
Yes, of course, Alan. Well, are we?
Well, it depends on your point of view, I suppose. Well, it's only the dining hall they refuse to clean, but whether we should continue to pay their bills, I really don't know. They just don't seem to be playing the game. The toilets are a sticking point too, although I can't say I altogether blame them on that one. Wouldn't you agree, Alison? So, basically, there you have it, I suppose. We seem to be going round in circles on the cleaning front.
I think perhaps we ought to move on to the budget, Alan, if we're to close by 6:30.
Oh, good gracious me. You know, is that the time? Do you know, the older I get, the faster the clock seems to go.
So perhaps you could take us through the figures then, please, Alan.
Sure.
Briefly.
Well, things are shaping up very nicely, I'm pleased to say. Nothing for anyone to worry about. It seems that we shall come out of the year with a nice little carryover, just like last time.
I'm sorry. Exactly what are we supposed to be looking for here?
Oh yes, as I should have said, we're comparing our budget projection to our actual spend so far.
So am I right in saying that staff costs are actually much less than expected?
Yes.
So, why is this?
We lost one of the part-timers, rather unexpectedly.
And there was no replacement?
But it wasn't necessary. As I understand it, the other staff covered her work. Is that all right? Well, perhaps you could take us through the pluses and minuses of the office costs now, Alan.
Well, the photocopier's a problem. It always has been. Short of taking out the fuse every time I leave the office, I really don't know what to do.
can I
Can
say
I cut
something?
in here, Alan? I think we've just about covered everything.
I don't mean to be
It's
rude, but can I say something?
Yes, of course, Ashok.
Well, like I said, I don't mean to be rude, but this meeting, I have to say, I think it's a bit of a shambles. I mean, there's no agenda until we get here. No clear start time. We spend most of the meeting on matters arising, and I don't mean to be critical, but it's like I wasn't here most of the time. And I have to say, this was like a duet, not a committee.
Oh, I think that's rather overstating things.
And you fudged the answers to the 1 or 2 questions that were put to you once we finally got around to talking about the budget. And the children. The children were only mentioned in passing. Somewhere between the photocopier, the cleaners and the toilets. And tell me, why are we carrying money over to next year, just like last time? I mean, this is a school, not a business. We don't have to make a profit. I've never been to a meeting like it in my life.